It is the afternoon of April 15th, 1989. BBC's Grandstand switches to its live update from Hillsborough. The match between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest is underway.
To Sports Stadium. Let's join our commentator George Hamilton with Johnny Giles.
Thousands of Liverpool supporters are outside Hillsborough Stadium, funneling toward the Leppings Lane end. The crowd is heavy, the gates are tight, and pressure keeps building as kickoff approaches. Police open an exit gate to relieve the crush outside. Fans pour through the tunnel that leads directly to the central pens behind the goal. The pens already close to capacity. The flow doesn't slow. People keep moving forward with no room to spread out. Inside the pen, the pressure becomes unbearable. Supporters near the front are forced against the steel perimeter fences. Some raise their arms, trying to signal for help. Others attempt to climb the fencing to escape the crush behind them. The match has only just started when people begin collapsing. They are pinned, layered, and trapped with nowhere to go. Fans behind continue to be pushed forward by the weight of the crowd coming in from the tunnel. Players on the pitch notice the chaos. They see fans climbing fences, others waving desperately, and stewards running toward the terraces. The match is stopped as police and club staff rush to the end of the stadium where people are fighting to breathe. Supporters break down advertising boards and carry the injured toward the pitch. Others perform CPR on the grass. Stretchers are improvised from hoardings because there are not enough medical teams on hand for what's unfolding. Emergency services struggle to gain control. Some officers and fans work together to pull people over the fencing. Others search the penned areas for those who are unconscious. By the time the stadium begins to clear, dozens are dead and many more injured. In the months and years that follow, investigators confirm that overcrowding in the central pens and the uncontrolled flow of fans through the tunnel caused the fatal crush. The disaster leads to sweeping changes in British football. Standing terraces removed, stadiums redesigned, and safety standards rebuilt from the ground up. It is the morning of February 28, 1997. Two men, heavily armed and wearing homemade body armor, walk into a Bank of America branch in North Hollywood, Los Angeles. Each carries a rifle and multiple magazines. They have drum and box magazines taped together for quick reloads. Inside the bank, they force employees and customers to the ground. They fire into the ceiling and walls to show they're serious. The robbery itself is fast. They empty cash from the tills in the vault area, but much of the money is fitted with die packs that will later explode. Outside, patrol officers are already arriving. A 911 call went out while the robbery was still in progress. Marked units take positions around the parking lot and nearby streets, waiting for the suspects to come out. The two gunmen exit the bank and step into a perimeter of police cars. They immediately open fire with automatic weapons, rounds striking vehicles, trees, walls, and officers taking cover. Their rifles punch through car doors and cinder block. Officers return fire with pistols and shotguns. Many of their rounds hit the suspect's armor and do little to slow them. The gunmen keep moving, firing as they walk, spraying long bursts up and down the street. One of the robbers moves toward a getaway car. As he backs up, he continues shooting at officers across the intersection. A patrol unit is hit. Several officers are wounded by rifle fire and shrapnel. The other robber advances along the street on foot. He uses parked cars for cover, firing repeatedly at officers trying to flank him. Some shots strike civilians and passing vehicles. The area turns into an active combat zone, stretching several blocks. With officers outgunned, some respond by obtaining rifles from a nearby gun store. They return with higher-powered weapons and begin engaging the suspects from longer distances, aiming for unprotected areas like legs and arms. One gunman is eventually hit multiple times in the legs. Bleeding heavily, he falls beside a car and continues firing from the ground until he can no longer move. Police close in and secure his weapon. He dies at the scene. The second gunman attempts to escape in a car. He drives a short distance while still exchanging fire with pursuing officers, then abandons the vehicle after it's disabled. He takes cover behind it and continues the shootout on foot. Officers concentrate fire on him as he tries to relocate. He is struck repeatedly in the lower body. Surrounded and unable to stand, he is disarmed and taken into custody. He also dies from his wounds. By the end of the incident, both robbers are dead. No officers are killed, but numerous police and civilians are injured. The streets are littered with spent casings, damaged cars, and shattered glass. In the aftermath, departments across the United States review their equipment. The shootout becomes a key example in the push to arm patrol officers with rifles and better protective gear to avoid being outmatched in future confrontations. It is 2:46 p.m. on March 11th, 2011. NHK is broadcasting a live session from Japan's national diet. The camera begins shaking lightly, then more forcefully. Lawmakers look around, some stand, and several move under their desks as the tremor grows. The feed cuts. NHK switches to its emergency studio. Earthquake warning graphics fill the screen, along with the automatic alert tones that accompany Japan's emergency broadcast system. The anchor starts reading out information being issued by the Japan Meteorological Agency, including tsunami warnings for the Tohoku coastline. Maps appear showing the regions under major tsunami alerts. New data continues to update on screen as the anchor repeats instructions for coastal areas to evacuate. NHK begins pulling in live coastal camera feed. From above Miyagi Prefecture, the camera shows the coastline and the flat plain behind it. In the distance, a dark mass of water moves inland. As it advances, debris begins to spread across the fields. Buildings, vehicles, and other structures can be seen being carried by the force of the wave. For the rest of the afternoon, NHK remains in full emergency coverage, switching between studio updates, maps, coastal cameras, and more helicopter shots of the affected areas. The footage shows the scale of the earthquake and tsunami as it unfolds in real time along the Tohoku coast. Tsunami. It is February 12th, 2021. Sports journalist Diego Ordinola is outside the Monumental Stadium in Guayaquil with his team. They're there to record a segment, standing near the street with the stadium in the background. During the shoot, a stranger approaches the group. He's wearing a mask and a cap. In his hand, he's carrying a small handgun, which he raises toward the reporter and the crew. The situation changes instantly. The man demands a phone and valuables. A member of the crew quickly hands over a mobile device. The group cooperates, keeping still while the man holds the weapon pointed in their direction. Once he has what he wants, the stranger moves away. He backs off from the team, still holding the handgun, and then turns and runs toward the street. A motorbike with another person waiting is nearby. He climbs onto the back of the motorbike and leaves the area. The bike pulls away quickly, disappearing into traffic. No one in the crew is physically harmed, but they have just experienced an armed theft in the middle of a normal workday. Later, the incident is reported to authorities. The video of what happened spreads widely, showing how suddenly a routine sports segment outside a stadium turned into a serious safety scare for a small TV team in Guayaquil. Of September 11, 2001, a passenger jet has already struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. Smoke pours from the upper floors. People inside the building and on the streets below are trying to understand what happened. While the city is still reacting to the first impact, a second plane approaches Manhattan. It comes in low and fast, banking toward the World Trade Center. At 9:03 a.m., it slams into the South Tower, cutting through the building and exploding on impact. Flames and debris burst outward from the South Tower. Fires now burn in both skyscrapers. People on the ground watch as smoke thickens and spreads across the sky. Emergency services race toward Lower Manhattan from every direction. Inside the towers, conditions worsen by the minute. Stairwells and elevator shafts are damaged. Heat and smoke build on the upper floors. Many people begin evacuating down dark, crowded stairwells, while others remain trapped above the impact zones. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower begins to fail. The upper section starts to fall, and the building collapses down onto itself. In seconds, the entire structure is gone, replaced by a massive cloud of dust and debris that surges through the surrounding streets. The North Tower is still standing, but it is badly damaged and on fire. Rescue workers, police, and firefighters continue trying to reach people in and around the building. The area around the complex is covered in dust, wreckage, and abandoned vehicles. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower also collapses. Its upper floors give way, and the building comes down, sending another enormous cloud of dust and debris into the air. The skyline of Lower Manhattan is changed in a single morning. By the end of the day, both towers are gone. Thousands of people are dead or missing. The surrounding buildings are damaged, streets are buried in debris, and emergency crews work through the chaos, beginning a rescue and recovery effort that will last for months.
Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
The top floors collapsed down. I saw it blow and then ran like hell. Thank God. I'm 69, but I can still run. There's got to be firemen trapped back there, though.
The attacks on the World Trade Center become one of the defining events of modern history. 2 planes, 2 towers, and a few hours that reshaped the world. It is February 1st, 2003. Space Shuttle Columbia is returning to Earth after a 16-day mission. 7 astronauts are on board, following a standard re-entry path toward a planned landing in Florida. During launch, a piece of insulating foam came off the external tank. It struck the leading edge of the shuttle's left wing, damaging part of the thermal protection system. The impact was noted during the mission, but the full risk was not fully understood at the time. As Columbia re-enters the atmosphere over the western United States, the shuttle heats up. Superheated air flows around the vehicle as it descends at very high speed. Because of the earlier damage, some of that hot gas is able to enter through a breach in the left wing. Inside the wing, temperatures and stresses rise. Structural components begin to weaken. Sensors in the wing and landing gear area start to fail as the heat spreads and the damage grows. Over Texas, the shuttle begins to break apart. Sections of the left wing and other pieces of the orbiter separate in flight. Columbia loses stability and disintegrates high in the sky, scattering fragments along its path. This clip comes from an onboard camera recorded by the STS-107 crew as Columbia passed over the Central Pacific. The footage runs right up to the moment before Mission Control lost contact with the shuttle.
Do you see over my shoulder, Laura?
I was feeling it doesn't show up nearly as much as the back.
It's going pretty good now. And it's really neat. It's a bright orange yellow out over the nose, all around the nose.
Where do you start seeing the swirl patterns? That's your, like left or right? Alright, we're at 100th of a G.
This is amazing. It's really getting fairly bright out there.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be outside now.
Like we did before.
I look out the back, Laura.
Good point.
Yeah. I can see you in your mirror.
Not yet?
Now I can.
Debris falls along a long corridor across East Texas and into Louisiana. People on the ground see bright streaks crossing the sky. Wreckage from the orbiter lands in fields, forests, and small communities across the region. There are no survivors from the crew. All 7 astronauts on board are lost in the incident. Search teams, local residents, and officials spend weeks recovering material and evidence across a wide area. An investigation concludes that the foam strike and wing breach led directly to the loss of Columbia. Hot gas entering the wing during re-entry caused the structural failure. The shuttle fleet is grounded, and NASA makes major safety changes before flights resume. It is February 18th, 2001. The Daytona 500 is on its final laps. Michael Waltrip is leading. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in second. Dale Earnhardt Sr. is running third, just behind them, trying to protect their positions in a tight pack of cars. The field races into Turn 3 and Turn 4. Behind the leaders, the line of cars is bunched up at full speed. Sterling Marlin's car is close to the back of Earnhardt's black number 3 as they come through the corner. Contact happens in Turn 4. Marlin's front end touches the right rear of Earnhardt's car. The number 3 wiggles down the banking for a moment, then moves back up the track into the path of Ken Schrader's car. Earnhardt and Schrader make heavy contact. The two cars hook together and shoot up toward the outside wall. Earnhardt's car hits the wall at a steep angle with the right front. Schrader's car slams in as well. Both cars slide down into the infield grass. They come to rest near the exit of Turn 4, heavily damaged. Other cars continue across the finish line while safety crews rush toward the wrecked number 3 and number 36. Rescue workers surround Earnhardt's car. They work at the driver's side and prepare him for transport. He is taken from the track by ambulance and moved to a nearby hospital. Later, it is announced that Dale Earnhardt has died from his injuries. Doctors determine that the impact caused fatal head trauma. The crash ends the career and life of one of NASCAR's most famous drivers on the final lap of its biggest race. In the aftermath, the sport changes. NASCAR tightens its safety rules, speeds up the adoption of head and neck restraints, improves energy-absorbing barriers, and focuses on protecting drivers from exactly the kind of impact that killed Earnhardt. It is October 16, 2011. The IndyCar season finale is underway at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 30-plus cars are running in a tight pack on the high-banked oval, 3 wide in several rows at very high speed. By lap 11, the group is still bunched together. In turn 1, contact begins deeper in the field. One car moves out of line, another reacts, and within seconds several cars touch wheels. The first spin triggers a chain reaction. Multiple cars lose control at once. Some go up the banking, others slide toward the wall. A number of cars collide nose first and side on, creating a large, high-speed pileup in the corner. Dan Wheldon's car is caught in the middle of it. His number 77 machine makes contact, is lifted off the ground, and goes over another car. It rises into the air and strikes the catch fence, rotating before coming back down into the wreck area. The corner fills with damaged cars and debris. Several vehicles are on fire. Others slide to a stop further down the track. Safety crews respond immediately, moving toward the cluster of cars in Turn 1 and Turn 2. The race is stopped. Drivers bring their cars to a halt on pit road as officials and medical teams work at the scene. Wrecked cars are gradually removed and the track is cleared piece by piece. Later, officials confirm that Dan Wheldon has sustained injuries he will not recover from. The event is halted permanently, and the remaining drivers take part in a slow, multi-lap tribute around the circuit in his honor. In the months that follow, the incident prompts deeper discussion about car design, speeds, and race conditions on high-banked ovals, changes aimed at preventing a similar tragedy in the future. It is April 15, 2013. Runners are approaching the finish of the Boston Marathon on Boylston Street. Spectators line the sidewalks, pressed against metal barriers. Many are waiting for friends and family to cross the line. Late in the race, the area near the finish is still busy. Volunteers work the chute, runners come through in small groups, and people on the sidewalk clap, talk, and lean over the railings to watch the final stretch. Then, a powerful blast erupts near the finish area. A sudden flash and wave of pressure hits the crowd. Smoke rises from the right side of the street, close to the barriers and storefronts. People nearby are knocked off balance, and some fall to the ground. Seconds later, a second blast occurs further along Boylston. Another column of smoke climbs above the street. The calm of the finish line vanishes. Runners stop, turn back, or move sideways. Spectators scatter, some trying to help those who are down. The street quickly fills with injured people and responders. Race officials, volunteers, police, and bystanders move toward the sidewalk. Barriers are lifted or pushed aside to reach those closest to the blasts. Makeshift bandages and stretchers appear as people use clothing and available materials to help. Emergency services converge on the scene. Ambulances, fire crews, and additional officers arrive and begin organizing treatment and transport. Parts of downtown Boston are shut down as the area around Boylston Street is sealed off. In the hours that follow, it is confirmed that several people at the finish line have lost their lives, and many others have serious injuries. Hospitals across the city receive a surge of patients. The marathon, which began as a celebration of endurance and community, ends under heavy security and investigation. Over the days that follow, authorities identify 2 brothers as responsible for placing the devices. A massive search unfolds in and around Boston, ending with one brother losing his life during a confrontation and the other taken into custody after a manhunt. The events at the finish line leave a lasting mark on the city. Each year after, Boston remembers that day with memorials, moments of silence, and a renewed focus on safety and resilience around one of its most famous races.